it could be a problem that he was so in his pocket per se.
I hope at least at home he was allowed to not be strong. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's my whole thing. I hope this at home he had that release. If he didn't tell the world, okay, that's cool. But at least somewhere where you having that release.
Somewhere, yeah. We all need that safe space.
Right.
Welcome to the TMF podcast, where we have too many feelings. I'm your boy T Staples, and I'm here with my girl
Miss Munroe
and the big homie.
It's your main man's Freddie B. We right here checking in.
And today we got some good food for your soul. You know, we got some good infotainment, if you will. So Miss Munroe, go ahead, tell us what we're talking about today.
Well, our plan was to talk about Bun B's response to everything that's been going on with Megan Thee Stallion, but then unfortunately we got the news last night that Chadwick Boseman died.
What?
I knew he had been losing weight, and I saw people talking about it online, and you had some people making some really mean comments, but then I think a lot of us were kind of hoping that maybe it was for some film or some sort, but it was like, all right, dude, you're going a little too far if that's what you're doing. And so to hear this is like, after everything that's going on in 2020, it's just too much.
Yeah, I remember that too. I remember people, that picture came out. He was like looking very emaciated, and people were making jokes. I think like now in hindsight, everybody's making jokes feel bad because he's an actor. And that's the thing with like actors. You see him, you just assume that they must be, because you want to think the best. They must be preparing for a role. And then I remember, I think I made like a little joke, but my joke was comparing him to 50 Cent when he did his role. Because the same thing happened with 50 when he did that with the movie with Ray Liotta. He was like, that picture came out super emaciated. But yeah, people thought that was the case with him. And then now it comes out like, yo, dude been going through stage 4 colon cancer all these years, shooting all these movies. Now it's just like, dang, like, you feel really, really bad, like, but it's like one of the things like who would have known, because he kept it
such a secret
under wraps.
And how do you
for 4 years too, like, not we ain't talking about this is new. He had this before Black Panther dropped.
Yeah,
the
so
original
like,
Black.
Yeah, it's like hats off. It's like, yo, like that's just, he he did it, obviously not to have people's sympathy, and just to work through it and to, that's just a stand-up dude. It's like you can't do nothing but hats off, double salute, like,
yeah,
rest in peace.
I kind of question that though, and the thought just came to me because this is something I've been working on, and I kind of get on a lot of other Black men about doing this, that silent, I'm gonna just take all this in and not, I hope that at home he was doing that, you know what I'm saying? But I know oftentimes with a lot of men, you all aren't sharing that with anybody, and Black women do the same thing. This needs to, play that trope of being the strong Black woman, and like, I hope that at some point, you know what I'm saying? I know, pretty sure his wife and all this stuff, I'm pretty sure all of them knew, but I mean, I know friends who've had situations like that. My ex, his mother did that. She was diagnosed with cancer. She was a nurse, and she didn't tell anybody that she had cancer. She knew for years. She's like, I'm gonna just, let this thing run its course, and when I die, I die. So, but I know I'm kind of thinking about that too. Like, I think it's great that he did that in a sense, but I also think that people could get carried away with that and try to take on too much. Especially when, as Black people, we already kind of do that anyways. And this thing of us always trying to act like we always got it all together and ain't nothing bothering us. And you know what I'm saying? Like, just trying to be extra strong all the damn time.
Right. I mean, do you think just having you think he was, it could be a problem that he was so in his pocket, per se?
I hope at least at home he was allowed to not be strong. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's my whole thing. I hope this at home he had that release. If he didn't tell the world, okay, that's cool. But at least somewhere where you having that release.
Somewhere, yeah. We all need that safe space to get into, and to be vulnerable, and to be sensitive, and to be okay with the condition we're in. But at the same time, I also believe that we need a uplifting, those people who motivate us, or those things that motivate us. If going to work is your thing, and with him, he was playing different roles, and I was actually hoping. And I'm hoping even now, even as we talk about him, that he was able to finish his role in the second iteration of Black Panther. I know it was in production before we went on this whole COVID-19 lockdown situation. But now more so than any, because we don't have him no more. He was a great figure. So, Freddie B, I know you was about to say something. I'm gonna let you get that in.
I think with Miss Munroe, what she said is it is valid. It is valid, and yeah, some people try to do too much. I think with the whole thing is that it's important not to just like what you were saying about your ex and his mom. Like nobody knew in the family. Like yeah, you know, you and your close inner circle, they may know. But speaking to that thing, I think with black people, it's just so many things that's going on. You get kind of in that pocket per se, to where it's like, because I know I do it. It's like you just go through so many, because you're going through life, just what life throws at you. Then as a black people, you going through what life plus white people are throwing at you. You know, like different stuff on your job and moving up and trying to do this and trying to do that, being held back by systemic racism type things and so on and so forth. So you just used to catching the knocks of life, because there's extra knocks. It's like, you know, people are like now talking about therapy and doing that, which is good. I think people are taking into account. But then it's also the other side of that, to where people make excuses. You know, people can go too far. So it's like a middle area that you got to, it's like a balancing beam. Mm-hmm. Like not be too strong where you just keep everything in, but not be where like you just talk about everything. You need therapy on everything, and everything is hindering you from doing this, that, and the third. Because some stuff you got to just, niggas, you got to just fight through. Like, bro, you got to just boss up and keep it moving.
I think it's one of those situations where, I mean, I'm deeply saddened to lose Chadwick Boseman, the Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. You know, I'm sad to lose him, because he has become almost a part of the iconic. What's it called?
Iconography.
Iconography right now with the Black Panther, the symbolism of it, and even the story about how he got to the role versus Michael B. Jordan, who was honestly Ryan Coogler's first pick for that role,
obviously.
And yeah, no, I mean they've been working together for a minute.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
they
like Spike Lee and Denzel.
Right. So you know, for him to get that role and that image to now be sunk in your head of who this iconic a star is, this iconic figure is the Black Panther, and then now he's gone. You know, so soon. Mm-hmm. You know, they say gone too soon. You know, it's almost as if, you know, you have to kind of trust in, if you believe in a higher power. You know, I believe in God. You know, if you trust and believe in God, you know, it's one of those things where you have to trust and believe that he knows what he's doing, because now that image is sealed, right? That image is, you can't taint that. And it's so many of our stars who get tainted as they live throughout their lives, even though it shouldn't happen. Things happen where they get caught up in scandals, or they get caught up in lawsuits. They get caught up in this, caught up in that. And it's with him, it's almost like God sealed it. So it's like, okay, yeah, this is his body of work. Everything. I mean, you can see he's for the people. And I was looking forward to seeing this guy who's a great actor in his own right, you know, develop into this great director, you know, to see more of his stuff that he was going to come out with in the future. But you know, this is when the universe said it was his time was done, you know, and this is the moment where he's not here, and whether he kept it behind closed doors or didn't keep it behind closed doors, you know, I know that, you know, the things and parameters were right. They said he was surrounded by family on his last days, and I would think that that's very respectful of them as a family, as big as a star as he was, to keep that in and not reveal that. I mean, man, I don't think anybody in the media knew. Mm-mm. I mean, it was like a media shock last night when the news came out. Chadwick Boseman dead? How? Shot? Somebody must have shot him. Shot? No shot. No. Cancer. Since 2016. And at the time of this recording, you know, we're in August of 2020. So you got to imagine he's been wrestling with this since before the release of the Black Panther. You know, so this is one of the things where, you know, I just hope that, you know, this was done the way he wanted it done, and he did have the support, and he was able to be vulnerable. At the same time, I do appreciate the strength that he showed us in the Black community, and the love he showed us in the Black community, the things he did to help bring us closer together. You know, I a lot of people talk about how, well, Black Panther is a Marvel film. It's owned by white people. But the energy of that film, I think, brought us one step closer together. And so to that end, Chadwick Boseman, rest in prosperity, rest in peace, but rest, brother. You've done your work. Rest on. So On to stories that are in the media. Recently, not too long ago, actually, we have Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez. Break this thing down for me, Freddie B. What happened out here?
So Megan, she got on live twice, and it kind of threw me off because like it popped back up into the ecosystem of pop culture, the zeitgeist per se, and so apparently she did another live and saying that he shot her, and I thought she had done a live already saying he shot her, but apparently her and Tory Lanez were at Kylie's house at a pool party. They had done a live, and you see Tory swim up in between them. So we know they were all together, and at some point in time, they left. They were riding the car, and I guess they were going back to drop Megan at her house or go back to somebody's house. And in that time, something altercation happened in the car. Megan got out, and when she got out the car, then that's when Tory shot her. There have been reports that they had an argument at Kylie's house before they even left, and the police was called out, so on and so forth. But Megan, she got on the second live, and like I said, I could have sworn she said on the first live, but she got on the second live, and I think on the second live she went more into depth about that he just shot her for no reason. Like she got out, and they had an argument. She got out, and then he reached out the car and shot her in the foot. And so she was saying like the police came and she tried to protect him because the police came. The police came on some other stuff. They didn't come nicely and trying to de-escalate things. They came like on an escalation type tip, and she wanted to protect Tory and not the police kill him or kill her or kill them because they were all black. And so
yeah, if you watch the video from the helicopter, like you can see her. They made all of them lay on the ground, and even though she's bleeding, like you could see as she's taking a step, you could see this blood. You know what I'm saying? And they made all of them lay on the ground and everything. Like it was like they were like terrorists or something that they thought they had caught. It was wild watching it. So
they made them lay face down.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that video.
Yeah, it was up on TMZ for a while. I don't know if it's still there or not, but yeah.
That is crazy. So it's like right now it doesn't sound good for Tory at all. Everybody saying that he needs to be deported, so on and so forth. I mean, because I think he's a Canadian citizen, not an American citizen. Mm-hmm. If that's the case, then yeah, I think he probably would be deported. The whole thing. With me, like what Bun said, I agree with. It's just hard here. It's hard for me hearing that from Bun B because I've met him a few times, and his his respect for women, the times I met him, is kind of low. Not saying that people can't change and evolve. They can. But
that's why it was shocking to me that he said it too.
Yeah, that's my only thing, just hearing it from Bun. Like what he said, and my thing is that a lot of people will discount what somebody says because based on who's saying it. Mm-hmm. And with me, like somebody, if you saying some real stuff, you saying some real stuff. It don't matter who's saying it. Like that's my opinion. So with what Bun B said, he said some real stuff, and I agree with what he said. It's just I just still acknowledge like it's troubling. It's just hard for me to really take it all in. I had to listen to it a couple times to take it all in because of Bun B saying it. Because like I said, I know his music, and I'm not gonna judge him just strictly off his music, but like I said, I've met him in person a few times, and every time I've met him, it hasn't been a pleasant situation. He's been an asshole, he's been disrespectful to women, so on and so forth. So it's just like, Bun B, so I'm not fond of Bun B per se, but what he said is correct. And but my thing is, I want to hear Tory. I just want to hear what Tory has to say, not from the standpoint I feel like he can justify it, but I'm always the person of if you're accused of doing something wrong and it looks very bad, I just even from just an entertainment standpoint, I want to hear what can you say, what is your side of the story, or are you gonna just own it and be like, yo, I shot her for no reason? Because most people ain't gonna do that,
right? Most
people ain't gonna just own it all. So it's like, what tap dancing can he do? I'm really interested to hear hear his side of the story, hear how he maybe can bend it to yo, this happened, she bit me in my knee and she got out, and bitches ain't gonna bite me in my knee, you gonna get shot if you bite me in my knee, whatever the case may be. I want to hear what Tory got to say.
It ain't gonna be too difficult.
I'm actually kind of curious what he got to say as well, you know what I mean? Because why did you shoot on the foot? did you think this was Harlem Nights all over again? I don't understand. Did you shoot a pinky toe? Did she threaten you? What did she do? And if she did these things, now I didn't know they was together, first of all, so I didn't know they were an item on the menu. I didn't know what they were. You know, I had no idea. So this could have been a night of fun. They were having smoking some pot. Who knows? But the thing is that you shot her.
Some pot.
You know, who knows? You know, whatever they was on. You know, what I do know is that it should not have come an end to that. The end should not have been her getting shot in the foot. I don't care what kind of argument is like that. To me, that's weak. First of all, if you got to put your hands on a woman, you know what I'm saying, you should get away from that woman. You know, you should never want to get to a place where you just mentally like, I have to put my hands on her. You know,
this is like another step. Like, you know, like what you said is one thing, putting your hands on a woman. This nigga put out a gun.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. So that's why I was getting at. So now you don't put your hands on her, but then not only not that you got to the point where you put your hand on her, you went to the next step and you used a blunt instrument. You decided, oh no, I'm gonna use this weapon that is used that has a certain amount of stopping power, that is used to supposedly protect myself. Right? That's what a handgun's supposed to be for, your protection. You ain't going out and shooting pigeons with that. You know, you ain't go out and shooting no game to get you no meat at night. That is for protection, right? And so you felt threatened that your life was in danger, right? Because that's why you use a gun. And my life's in danger, and you pulled a gun out, but it was not in danger enough to shoot her to kill her. It was in danger enough to shoot her in the foot to stop her from running away because she was in the car. So is that what you want to stop? You want to hold her back from being able to exit the scenario, right? Am I understanding that right? And so where are you mentally, where you now have to use, other than your words, something to get her from leaving? And at the same time, if it's something where she wants to go, why not just allow her to go? You know what I mean? What is this? I do want to hear what his side of the story is, but I do think that Bun B made some great points in here, and I kind of want to break some of this stuff down. And Ms. Munroe, I'm gonna throw it over to you. Do you think that what Bun B was talking about, the black woman always protecting the black man, or being in a position where she kind of has to protect the black man, is really at play in this scenario because of the fact that the police were there, the whole nine? I saw the video from the helicopter. The police was nowhere near the car, but you know, just from your perspective, like, what are your takes on what Bun B was saying there? Because he made some great points, but I'm just kind of curious from your perspective. Generally,
I would say yes, because as black women, we're taught to do that anyways, and which I feel like what we're seeing now is some black women walking away from that need to always try to put black men's feelings, emotions, you know, safety, whatever, above ours. So, like, and I don't know if, you know, I always wonder if maybe men don't see the same stuff in their timelines that I do, or maybe they just ignore it the same way white people, you know, ignore stuff about racism. Like, you know, maybe men just not even consciously but subconsciously just kind of keep scrolling, because it was right around the same time that happened, men saying, or even sometimes black women saying, if there's something going on between you and your man, you never call the police on them. That's not safe for the black man. Like, I don't care what he's doing to you. You never call it. You never bring the police into it. That stays between y'all.
So wait a minute. So like, he beating you with a frying pan, you don't call the police? Yeah,
seriously.
So like, if he pour grease on you, don't call the police?
Yeah, like there's a lot of people.
That's crazy.
It's almost like the no snitching rule. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing. That's why when she finally said something, you had a lot of people calling her a snitch. And Bun B addressed that. He was like, nah. He was like, that's domestic violence. That's not being a snitch. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you need to call out your accuser. Your the person who's hurting you. Like, that's not being a snitch. But that is like the rule of the hood. A lot of people don't talk about it, and a lot of people, you know, believe in that. Like, nah, you don't never call the police on you being a traitor to the black community if you call the police on that man. Mm-hmm. I don't care what he's doing to you.
I don't know. And I think for me, I you know, when it comes to that, I really don't think that is necessarily the case. But I also think about the way people look at snitching is wrong too.
Oh,
you know,
agree.
if it's two gang members shooting at each other and a bullet goes through somebody's house and it hits that person and injures them, they should call the police. And if they got a description of them gang members, that's just the game they lost that night. They could be y'all gang members. I'm not participating in that. You shot through my house. You see what I'm saying? So I think that people have to understand what snitching is. You know, messed up. Now, if we both robbing the bank together, that's different. If we both went in the bank together and we robbing together, that's different. But if I'm just a black dude who just happened to be in the bank and I see you and I know who you are, I know who you are. You robbed the bank while I'm trying to get my money out, and then you robbed the bank, I'm snitching. Oh yeah, that's Kevin.
Well,
yeah, I know exactly where they can find him.
Hold on.
Go get him.
I mean, if that's me and you rob the bank, I know who you are. Like, my money insured. Like, I ain't in that. I'm not about to snitch. Like, my money insured. I'm making a general, not like a specific. I'm making a general statement because I think people have the word snitching. They had, like, if the police ask you what was going on, you're not gonna give them information. You're gonna be like, "Oh, I ain't got nothing to do with y'all. Got to figure that out." That's how you gonna be. No, I'm be like, I'm not really for sure. I didn't see him, officer.
Man, that's Kevin. Kevin did it.
Not me.
Don't rob the bank around me. Don't rob the bank around me. That's all I'm saying. If I know you, don't do nothing around me that you feel like is illegal or fragrant.
So, Thomas, I disagree with you. I disagree with you a little bit there, but I do agree with you on the definition of snitching, because people snitching is involved in a gangster community. Like, if you a gangster, then snitching that's where snitching comes into play. But when you're a civilian, snitching don't come into play. Like what you saying, I'm sitting in the house, minding my own damn business, a bullet come through, and you hit my little girl. Like, yeah, like this Kevin, yeah, he lived right over there. He shot my little girl. Please go get him. Yes, I'm telling, and I'm within my right. But if I'm committing a crime with you, and then yeah, we in cahoots, I don't need to snitch. Stand up tall in it like Bobby Schmurda. Cahoots, baby. Yes, cahoots, baby.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
But with Megan, that's the part that kind of confused me, because online I didn't see where people were calling her a snitch. I just saw all throughout online that people were saying she wasn't a snitch, and I was confused. Like, why are people saying she's not a snitch? She's not a snitch. Like, where is this coming from? And then I saw 6ix9ine post Tekashi 6ix9ine post a video of a song of her saying that's his new favorite artist, basically trolling her because he's a snitch. And he basically saying like the snitch's favorite artist is Megan. So he basically, in essence, calling her a snitch. And I was confused, like, why is she a snitch? Because she's not a snitch. She just said that he shot her. And so, that part confused me. But what I will say is, what I think would happen, my speculation, I think they was in the car. They argued. She got out the car because Tory ain't number like 5'3". Short man syndrome, Napoleon.
Oh yeah. She about what? She about 5'8", 5'7"?
No, she about 5'9", 5'10".
Oh, Megan, she taller than I thought.
Megan a big girl. Yeah, Megan a big girl. Megan's a big girl.
She's
and so, yeah, Megan about 5'9", 5'10", probably like about 170, 165, 170. So,
so she'll beat his Okay.
Yeah. She could probably literally put hands on Tory, and Tory couldn't do nothing. So I think probably in the car, like, she kind of probably punked him. Maybe not hit him, but probably say like, "Man, shut your goofy ass if I smack you." And then she got up in his face or something like that, and then they got out the car. And I think Tory had the stick on him, and he thinking that, okay, I think he probably was like, he gonna just make her look stupid and shoot at her feet. Like in cartoons where they shoot at your feet and make you dance and stuff. Like, oh, I'm gonna make you dance and make you scared. I think he probably wanted to do that, and I think he probably shot and hit the ground, but bullets break apart. I don't know what type of gun he had, but bullets and debris break apart. He shot near her feet, but he thought it was like a cartoon, and he shot it, but then piece of the bullet hit her foot, and so she got shot per se. Yeah, but a piece of the bullet hit her foot, but then she essentially got hit by shrapnel, and she was injured. And he did that, and then he like, oh snap, and then once he hit her, he like, oh, he saw she was bleeding. He like, oh, my fault, I'm sorry. Oh, and he got super concise with her, and contrite rather. He got contrite with her, but they called the police, and if somebody heard the shot, police came, and she was trying to protect her because she could see that he was feeling bad. But then afterwards, because she was trying to protect him, but then afterwards she said his people called like blogs and tried to spin it because they didn't want it to come out like that. And then once that happened, she was like, oh, hold on, nah, you think it's a game?
Nah,
you ain't about to play me. And then that's
he was trying to play.
Exactly. And that's why she came out with the second one, was like, nah, he shot me for no reason. He just shot me. I think that's what happened.
So I'm going to have to jump in and piggyback off of that because I think a lot of what you're saying, I don't think you realize it. I think it's kind of dangerous because it's playing into a stereotype that that just because, it's a short man, that's what causes men to feel like they need to prove themselves. You have really big men who do the same thing. Two, considering that Megan already has a history with domestic violence from a previous boyfriend where she ended up getting arrested. She talks about that too on her Instagram page. I don't remember all the details, but because of that,
you think she got anger management problem?
No. So her version of the story, because I've never really delved into it, but her version of the story is that it was a guy she was seeing. Come to find out, he was cheating on her. He got another girl pregnant. She was really upset, and that they were yelling and arguing, and that he had been beating on her because I think having her team ended up like putting some pictures out or something. And so when the police got there, she was like, well, I'm not gonna say nothing. Like, she lied to the police and said that he's not doing nothing, and instead he said, nah, she's hit me. She was like, but when you look at the pictures from that night, you could tell she had been hit at some point. So I think in this situation, because, she'd already, been through that, now she's this even bigger star, with more at stake. I think for her, it was just like, look, I ain't about to argue with you. I'm just walking away. And so I think, especially because Tory Lanez has a history of domestic violence too. He has a previous girlfriend that went out and said that. And so to say that it's short man syndrome, and that's why, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to when men act out violently towards women, and we try to put all these little cute excuses, like, which it's almost like a boys will be boys thing when you talk about the Napoleon syndrome with all the stuff like that. Like, no, it's a serious issue that needs to be addressed, and a lot of it's just about manipulation and control. And so I don't even think that it's a possibility that he could have shot her and felt bad, but I don't think that either. I don't think afterwards he probably really even had any remorse, because a person who had remorse would not have allowed their team to go out there and start spreading these lies about, what was going on. Like, if I got remorse, I'm just gonna shut the hell up. All right, cool. Thank God she ain't say nothing. She ain't turn me in. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, you just making it worse. To me, that's not like a person that has remorse. And because this seems to be a history with him, then it clearly isn't, and you need to get help. But a lot of times we excuse that with men. We'll be like, oh, well, what did the woman do? What did she say? And that's what a lot of people have been saying. And that's why I like what Bun B came out and said, which I said for me, it was awkward to hear him say that, of all people. And speaking of awkward, let me just tell you how awkward this whole situation is. It was so strange to me that Boyce Watkins was getting out there and making the comments he made about WAP, saying that, women behaving that way would cause men to want to rape them or rape their children. And
it was Dr. Boyce Watkins?
Yeah, if you watch my Throwback Thursday episode, when I put that,
Dr. Boyce Watkins,
he was the one that said that. That's why I was like, so that makes y'all want to get rapey? I'm like, from him of all people. And you have somebody like Bun B come out and say something that made some damn sense. It was like, it just makes you realize every time that when we try to classify who these types of men are, that we don't really think about it. You know what I'm saying? We always think about it as a reaction to it, versus that it's some people who just really have an issue with manipulation and control. And a lot of times, this is something my auntie told me years ago. She always told me, she was like, insecure man is a dangerous man, period. Whatever the insecure
man with money is even more dangerous.
Very true.
That's because then you can pay for your insecure fantasies to come true.
Right. And so and a lot of times it's sad that we know that offhand, but then a lot of times what happens is when these black women do try to come out and speak up for themselves about these things that these men are doing to them, it's like, oh, you trying to tear down a great black man. Now, mind you, we don't know this nigga great. We just know that he made money. Like, how have we decided that he's great already?
Listen, hold on, wait. Let me hop in on this real quick, Ms. Munroe, because the issue I have with what we do here is we always put labels on people based on what we see, but we don't comprise who they are, what they do, you know what I'm saying, how they move, and what we see. We just give them the what we see part. We see the money, the fame. Oh yeah, he's a great man. That's a great man. You don't know that dude. You ain't been in the house with that dude. You don't know what he's capable of. You don't know what kind of personality he has. And it's funny because you even brought up Dr. Boyce Watkins. Because he's had control of his finances, because he's had control of his wealth, because he's had control of those things for so long. He's studied, right? He studied these things. He studied these things. He believes that's what he's got control over. Then what happens is sometimes, because we have control over one area, what do men do? They try to say, well, we got control over all areas. Right. And they try to say, well, that situation don't look right, so let me impart my influence on it this way, because this is the way it should be, because I got control over this area, I understand that area. And I think that's where we kind of slip. Is he trying to give life lessons? He's not the life lessons guy. He's just not you're not the life lessons guy. You just talk finances and
like
you be
Steve
cool.
Harvey.
Yeah, same thing. So when you try to impart when you try to impart your control that you have in this one area and try to put it on all areas, that's when it gets a little out of hand, and that starts to apply in their life. I think it does come back to it's some level of control, and you got to think about it. Megan's on the come up, baby. She is up and up and up and up. And if you feel like you've been out longer or doing something longer, you could definitely get to a place where you in your feelings if they dating. And I think it also goes back to some of the stuff that they talk about where women and men have power issues when it comes to finances, right? It goes back to that, like, man, like you feel like I can't do nothing for you no more. Well, how about this? Bang. Right. Like what? But it's dudes that would do that. But I kind of want to I want to draw us into another issue here. We talked about
wait.
Well, we're still on black. We still on black.
I wanted to respond to what Miss Munroe said earlier about the short man syndrome, and I think like with that, it's not really an excuse. I think there's something that it is, because I've been like short dudes, like they act like, not even just women, with other dudes as well. I've been in the club numerous times where like dudes, you go to the club, you might post up in a particular place so you can see the girls walk by or whatever. You can survey the room. Isn't many a times where I've had like short dudes come and they'll like, or they might be standing somewhere, and I don't stand in front of them. I stand off kind of to the side, but then they'll move up and then bump past me just to stand right in front of me. Like that's happened a few times with a short dude to stand like literally right in front of me, to where like nobody can walk in front of me. Or if I wanted to talk to a young lady, I can't even, hey, what's up, and have her come over and talk to me because this short dude standing right in front of me. I'd had short dudes like just be extra. They act extra. They try to, and I think that's actually like a thing.
I think it is an actual thing. I'm just saying in the sense of, because of their height difference. One, it's something that I didn't really realize. I'm short. You know what I'm saying? I'm 5 foot. So I didn't realize.
You got the short woman thing.
You said what?
You got the short woman thing.
That's the thing, short woman.
No,
thing?
I was gonna say, and
she's basing shit up. You got short woman syndrome.
Whatever.
That's a new syndrome. Short woman. What was it? Short woman light skin syndrome.
Anywho, in reference with the height difference between her and Tory, what you see a lot of times, and I never thought about this because, like I said, I'm short, so a lot of women apparently deal with the fact that we're already dehumanized as black women anyways, but as a tall woman, you're dehumanized even more in the sense that, like, it's harder to harm you, so it's okay. You know what I'm saying? And, Tory's probably just acting out. He having short man syndrome, and she taller, so she's probably intimidating him. You know what I'm saying? Like, when the actuality of, we need to talk about men being insecure in general, because when it's not a man who's not short or has a lot of money, we're less likely to believe that they are capable of these things. When it's truly about control, whether it's due to your height or due to whatever other thing you feel like you're lacking.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, I think because and some of the stuff I can't relate to in the same way, because I'm on the, I guess you would call me on the taller side. I thought of myself as medium height, but I'm 6 foot even. So people say, "No, you taller, bro," because I met a lot of guys a lot shorter than me, and it's got to be even weirder for Fred, because Fred is taller than me. So I know he probably seen dudes as like 5'6", 5'7". He probably think they midgets, but
yes.
So I do think there is something to do with the dehumanization of women. But I will say this though, and I think maybe, and I think it's one of the things where I don't think mentally maybe I'm not in the same space as some of these other gentlemen are when it comes to this stuff. Because for me personally, when I see a fine, tall, attractive woman, to me that's like, and I used to say this incorrectly. I think it may have been Freddie B or somebody who mentioned it. But it was some people I used to work with. I used to be like, man, y'all the stallions. I used to say that all the time, because I used to think of like they just their presence so grand and like. So I think there is something to that, even in the reverse, and that's me giving my case. But I don't think that every man thinks that way. But there are definitely some men who are intimidated or affected by a woman's stature, especially when she got there. And then you add money, you add power, you add fame, right? Then you add those things in, and that can really start to cook in his stove, in his kitchen of mental, illness or whatever he got going on. But so that. I
mean, I'll say this. I think just about every guy. Like I go even further. I say just about every guy is affected by stature. As a man, if you gotta look up to somebody, it plays on the going to Like I think probably the most poignant thing Miss Munroe said is what your aunt said, an insecure man is a dangerous man. Like, yeah, like that insecurity creeps in because men are driven by like the ego. the male ego is a thing. And so then if it's insecure, that's a damage to the ego. And then once it's a damage to the ego, then bad things can happen. So the shorter in stature you are, like every dude, like if a woman is taller than you, you feel uncomfortable. So in his case, like Tory Lanez, Daystar Peterson, his name is Daystar. Daystar Peterson.
He had to change that name. He had to do that. He had to change that bad boy.
Yeah,
Daystar.
Daystar, right. It's the same thing with Plies. Plies' real name is Algernon. So, like, Algernon, that's his real name, right. So, Daystar Peterson is like 5'2". So, his thing is that... You got
a double here, bro.
Yes, like, his thing is when you 5'2", you going through insecurity nonstop. It's just, you just kind of adapt to it. You're able to deal with it on a regular basis, but it's always there. It's always the underlying thing because you always looking up to people. And in his case, unfortunately, he's a guy. I mean, that's what we're talking about. He's a guy, and you got a lot of women who might be eye level to him. So if you just slightly taller than him, he probably can deal with that. But when you have somebody like Megan Thee Stallion, I forgot her last name. Dang, it's her last name goofy sounding too. But it's short. It's like it's to me. Let me make this clear. To me, when your first name is way longer than your last name, that always look weird to me. Call it what it is. But Megan Thee Stallion, she's like considerably taller.
Her last
than him.
name is Pete. Megan.
Yes, Pete. Megan Pete. Yeah, she got two. That's why it's silly because she got two first names. That's what it is. So Megan Thee Stallion, she's considerably taller than him.
Side note: I hate it when people have their first letter, their first name, and the first letter, their last name the same. I can't never trust them. You know what I mean? Like Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck. I don't trust none of them motherfuckers. Keep going.
Oh, alliteration. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Megan Thee Stallion is considerably taller and bigger than Daystar. So like when you have like that's the reason why short men really act out when they dealing with people who are considerably taller and bigger. So it's one thing to be like, oh, you're taller than me, but I'm bigger than you. But if you're taller and bigger, short men, like, that's men and women, just people, period. And it's like I've seen it forever and a day, and I think that's a big thing here. And another thing I wanted to say, back when we talked about black women protecting men when they come, I think that should happen. I think that's important that women protect their men and not call the police. But even bigger than that, I think it's important that men, I think the focus need to get back to raising men's standard, not lowering women's standard. I think important to that is that men protect their women. Like, you shouldn't be hitting your women with a pan or pouring grease. Like, you need to go out your way. It's like you having a conversation to get too heated. Like, bruh, step away. Like, give me a second, babe, and just walk out the house. To go full and go walk. Like, leave. Like, I think it's important that men protect their women.
Well, and that's the Freddie B. So actually, you took it to the area where we were trying to go to, which was going to be the next topic. You know, we talked about women protecting men all the time, but have we gotten to a place where the men have stopped protecting the women? I mean, do we not take up for the women? And if we don't take up for the women, how do we get back to that place? How did we get here? You know, what is it? You can't. Is it government? Is it societal? Like, what happened?
All those things. And so I'm gonna have a different perspective than probably a lot of y'all, because I grew up in a family that experienced a lot of domestic violence, which is, you know, people get on me about my mentality, but if you didn't grow up the way I grew up, then you have a totally different view. I watched one of my male relatives choke one of my other ones in the middle of the projects on top of a car, female relative. Like, just snapped and started choking her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never saw my grandfather put his hands on my grandmother, but when I found out, it made perfect sense for how he talked to her and treated her. To that point of protection, there's a lot of men that don't even know, when in my family and in other families, that, you know, women in your family have been beat on, and you don't know. Like, we are taught to not talk about it and not tell, to protect y'all's image of them. And so when Bun B said that, I was like, he's speaking to a whole lot right now. I think a lot of black men don't realize that. Like, I would be in so much trouble right now if I told some of my other relatives and stuff that I know. There's little cousins, or, you know, people who are younger than me who look up to me, and, like, you know, they'll ask questions sometimes. I'm like, I can't talk to you about that, because I'll be in trouble because auntie so and so or grandma so and so said it. I can't tell. You know, when people ask, well, why black women so mad, why we so bitter, because we know those stories and we watch the women in our family deal with that stuff, and we didn't get nothing out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just tolerate it, or they survive, you know, just so they can keep, you know, a roof over their children's head, because, you know, black women are still paid less, you know, to this day in 2020. So imagine 20, 30 years ago, a black woman couldn't just go out on her own unless she wanted to be on welfare.
Okay. You mentioned that, you know, you got all these different things that happen in your family, and your cousins are ask you, but you can't talk about because your aunts or whatever. Have you talked to your aunts about all that, like, why did it happen? Why did they allow it to happen? Why you can't talk about it? Why we can't get, like, the cousins that are asking you about it to discuss it? Why, or why you can't discuss it with other, so they can be better and they can understand the situation?
Because we're supposed to protect that image. We're not supposed to taint that image of them. Because, and this is another thing, like, prime example, with my mother and my father. Because I know for a long time my father had this idea in his mind that my mother talked badly about him to me. And I see these people say this all the time when it comes to, you know, single parent stuff like that. And people are thinking that in the home, which I'm not saying it don't happen. I know women who do talk trash about their baby daddies or whatever other men in their family to other people. I know it happens. But there's a lot more women keeping in things that, you know, we don't talk about. And my mother did not talk badly about my father to me. I figured out stuff on my own. And one of the first things I figured out as a young child was, all right, well, I see my mama struggling and working all the time and she crying, and I see him out here having the time of his life and having fun. Why? You know what I'm saying? So she didn't have to say anything to me, but my mother protected my father's image. And a lot of women do that. They'll protect that image and not say anything. So we're not allowed to tell and talk about some of the stuff that we know.
But who's the, and so I'm going to roll back and I'm going to double down on Freddie B's question to you, because I think, you know, you responded to him, but I don't know if you responded to the question. Mm-hmm. And the question he was talking about was, you know, putting an end to the silence. He's talking about let's getting together and let's speak about it. And maybe this is something you haven't put in your wheelhouse yet. Maybe you could put it in your wheelhouse for the next generation, is to have you thought about actually sitting down with them and saying, okay, I know we're not supposed to, because you stated it like twice, but now what? This is not working for us. So let's talk about it. And maybe that's the solution for America, you know, is this is not working for us. Silence is deadly, you know.
Silence is compliance.
Silence is compliance. I heard that one.
Those are their stories to tell. I'm not those, you know what I'm saying? Like, they suffered that abuse. So it's not my story. You know what I'm saying? That's not my story to tell.
No. Okay, let me break it down a little more. Okay, so because like you just said with your dad, that he thinks that your mom talked bad about you, but you figured it out. Because here's the thing, like everything you're saying, I went through as well. I have everything you said, like, I have the exact same story, except I didn't see a family cousin choke out a female cousin. I saw my own father choke out my own mother, and I called the police on my own dad and watched my dad get carried off in cuffs, yell, cursing, and saying he'll kill my mom. I saw my own dad do a whole bunch of stuff to my own mother that, you know, that was very threatening and very traumatizing, very abusive. So I saw, like, my parents do that. So everything you just said, like, I can relate to. What I'm saying is that because, like, I've had this talk with them, like, putting it all out, like, and even with my dad having to talk about his parents, about, you know, my grandparents and stuff that my grandfather did to my grandmother. Like, I had to talk to put it out there, like, hey, look, let's put it out there. Let's not continue this line down the family of, because I understand that it happened. I understand back in the day, like, everything you said is correct. Like, you know, black women can just go out and leave, so they protect their men and stay in the house. They men be out there doing dirt and doing all types of wild stuff. But we were married for 50 years and all that type of stuff. Like, there's admiration in that, but then how you got there might have sucked, and you didn't need to go through all that.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, in your family, have you, like, yo, look, like, put it out there, had these conversations, like, this is what I know and I want to talk about this, Dad. Like, look, you think all this, like, these are things that, and you explain to him the hurt that is caused, the hurt that you found out, and the stuff that you went through based off stuff that he did, so he can understand the hurt that he caused directly to you outside of your mother. Have you talked to your grandparents, all that type of stuff? Like, yo, this is hurtful for me knowing that you did that to them. Like, why would you do that? Why? And then talking to the woman, like, why would you keep this quiet? Like, talk to me, explain this to me, make this make sense to me, because this is all hurtful. And going forward, it's a whole bunch of secrets that still just exist, that people just going on, that needs to be broke up, because we need to talk about what's right and what needs to happen, so we can set an example for the men that come up. Have you spearheaded that? Because you're very, you know, like, we're talking right now, you're very strong-minded, you're very, you know, very to the point and want to break things up ordinarily outside of your family, but have you done that within your family?
With my father, yes. All those other situations, in one case, like, one of those relatives, like the cousin's choking the other cousin out, one of those relatives is dead. I don't know if her children even know that happened. I don't even want to bring it up because they weren't even alive when it happened. But all those other situations, the other two situations it was like a secondhand story. It wasn't that actual person telling me. It was a witness of, you know what I'm saying? Like how you saw your father do that. It was another aunt telling me that oh, well, I witnessed this and so, and another person telling me I witnessed this so, and I threatened him, and that's why he left. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a secondhand story of somebody else. I haven't talked to that actual person. These are much older people. But I do know that the children that, you know, a lot of the male children that those people had don't know. I wasn't supposed to know that story, period. You know what I'm saying? Period. I wasn't supposed to know that story, but I was asking a question to, you know, that aunt about what was going on, and she finally told me some stuff that, you know, happened long before I was even born, because they were, you know, little kids when it happened.
Right. I think the main thing with all this is like leading with love. You know what I'm saying? Like when I talk to my dad and really looking at the situation, because, you know, like when I talked to him, it wasn't an attack. It was me talking to him from a standpoint of understanding, not condoning. I think there's two different things, condoning and understanding. So I come with an understanding, I come with love, but I also come with facts. I still come with like, this is what happened, and I ask questions. I start off with a whole bunch of questions, like answer this, like, you know, but not interrogation, conversation, but where you have to expound on this so we can arrive at a point of reconciliation. So I'm leading with a heart of love, and I think that's the important part.
I think, Freddie B, you're right. You got to lead with love. You got to lead with wanting to inquire and to get the information and understand what it was. And I would postulate, I would say that this is the thing that we must do in America, you know, in our communities. So, yeah, but I think, it is just an opinion, but I think that also, you know, what we have to do is as a people, what we got to do is we got to start not only talking about what the problem is, but let's start talking about some solutions, and let's deploy a few of them. For everyone out here listening, you heard the problems, but I hope you also heard the solutions. It's the TMF podcast, where we just got too many feelings. Thank y'all for listening.